Welcome to Policy in Wonderland, where you follow the white rabbit into the ideas, technologies, and people changing the insurance industry. I'm your host, Ivi Amira, and today we are going into a part of insurance that is sometimes underestimated, but sits exactly where the business actually happens, the independent insurance agency. My guest today is Michael Lebor, health president, as he mentioned it on LinkedIn, and I love this one, of Momentum AMP and CEO of Insurance Gig. Michael spent years at the intersection of insurance, digital distribution, marketing, automation, and agency technology. Momentum started in the agency management world as the AMS, but today it's building something broader around agency operations, automation, integration, and AI, of course, especially with InsuranceAgency.ai, which Michael describes as one of the biggest things happening at Momentum and in insurance right now from his angle. And that raises a very practical question. Is the agency management system still just the system of record, or it's becoming the AI operating system for the modern insurance agency? That's what we will explore today. Agency workflow, AI trust, human approval, E&O risk even, partner ecosystems, and what the agency of the future may actually look like. Hey, Michael, welcome to Policy in Wonderland. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you. Thank you for being here. And we have a short time, and there is a lot to cover, and especially with someone with background like you. But before we go into the AI and agency technology, I want to start with something a bit more personal. You have spent a lot of time around insurance distribution, marketing, and technology. What still keeps you curious about this industry?
That's an interesting question. I'm very curious, and it's very convenient for me to answer this way, but right now I'm very curious to see what happens with the convergence of AI and it's all good. But for the record, that was Evie's phone, not my phone. Just being clear for
Yeah. My
the
fault. Sorry.
I can't be considered being a guest and a jerk in the first 30
No,
seconds.
no.
It's your podcast. I'm a guest in your home. So for you, it's okay. For me, though.
Yeah, it's my mom. Everything is okay, but
Oh, okay, good. We should bring her on and get her perspective. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. I say this all the time. I used to feel like I could keep up. I used to feel like I have good perspective of what's coming around the bend. I could see around the corner. If you're a decent technologist, you could read the writing on the walls. And I don't feel that way anymore. I'm very overwhelmed and intimidated by every single day that there's just new releases and the technology is advancing so fast. So I'm curious to see where it all plays out. I think, the sides that say that there's going to be this drastic change and humans won't be a part of it, I don't think they're right. And the ones that say, well, this is a passing fad and, let's choose to stick our head in the sand and observe, I think that's the wrong solution also. So I'm curious to see where the SaaS apocalypse comes in and where entrenched companies that really bring value come in, how the average independent agent is going to weather this storm. That I'm curious about.
So let's take deep dive into this agent world, agencies, insurance agencies. From your perspective, what is the biggest operational problem right now in the independent insurance agency that people from the outside the agency don't understand?
I think there are many, but I think if you break it down to its core, the average independent agent uses 14 different pieces of technology to run their business. And they're going to say, what? I have an AMS. No, an AMS. They have a CRM very often. They have an accounting system. They use Ivans for download. They buy external data. They might have a loss run platform. And the list goes on and on. On average, we've seen significant data that it's around 14. And the way that the technology has kind of evolved over time, and when I mean evolved over time, I don't mean the individual technology, but within the insurance agent's desktop and how they correspond and evolved over time, they really haven't evolved over time. And each piece of tech kind of stands on its own. And the reason why you have the VAs overseas and the $5 an hour Filipino coming in to do your data entry or to do your certificates of insurance, it's because of two things. Really, one, the systems don't talk to each other, and the tech by itself really hasn't advanced in the sense that kind of recognizing that you could take a human out of the robot work, but people have become just so set in their ways, and this is kind of how it's done. And once you start pulling on a bit of thread, and you realize that, oh my God, if I stop doing this, then the data won't go here, and then I have to go reset that system, and then that API, and they're all interconnected, and that's problematic. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that agents have is trying to unravel that. But it all stems from the core that there really hasn't been, and they haven't had the opportunity to have one single source of truth, one unified, uniform database for everything they do. And you and I have spoken about this, and I talk about this all the time, and I feel like kind of, I just keep standing on my soapbox, but I believe that there are three fundamental things that an agency needs to have or a technology provider needs to have in order to A, move forward, B, overcome this challenge that we're describing. So I think that's a major operational challenge.
So let's talk about momentum a bit. Momentum AMP, how do you find it today? As an AMS or an agency management platform, or the operating system for the agency, or as you said right now, is the one through here?
So it depends on how many words you give me to describe it. If I get one word, it's a platform. If I get a couple of words, it would be a platform. It would be an operating system. It would be a source of truth. It would be an
Let me
ecosystem.
stop you here. Sorry to jump in, but we hear a lot about platforms, and everyone have platforms. But yes, you and I spoke earlier, and Momentum, from my understanding, have a bit different perspective how to engage with the user with the insurance agents, and this is not just a platform. For me, if you will ask me, I think I will describe it as a unique ecosystem for agents, probably.
Yeah, so that's definitely, as we're constantly struggling with our marketing tagline and, what's that one word that we use to get the message out? Ecosystem is definitely one of the unique value props that I think other people claim that they have, and some do to an extent. I think as far as an ecosystem, that's really, I hate saying it like this because I know I sound like a bit of a jerk off, but like it's kind of our ethos. It's been our thesis for a long time, and the proof is in the pudding, and we're starting to see it now. And the ecosystem. So what does that mean? In order to have an ecosystem, it's again really bad example. You forgive me. I'm just thinking this on the fly. Saying you have an ecosystem is kind of like saying, okay, I've got an airport, right? But if I have an airport that doesn't have gates, doesn't have terminals, doesn't have like these passenger hubs, I could have like one landing strip and like planes coming in and out, but I can't serve the greater good. I could maybe land a couple of planes here and there, but If you look at a modern airport with different terminals, international, domestic, railways, all different airlines, you have passport control. You can serve a greater purpose and a much bigger function. And it's the same with your system. We are very particular about thinking of the AMSs as yesterday's way of doing things, and agency management platform, which is why we call ourselves AMP, is tomorrow's way of doing it. And the platform really powers the ecosystem. So an ecosystem is having different types of entities being able to exist together in one environment. So the ecosystem starts with us and what we provide. It's really purpose built for our users. Those are independent agents. But then you also have carriers that are part of that ecosystem, and you have insurtechs that are part of that ecosystem. And without getting into names, if you're an independent agent, big or small, and you're evaluating a new type of platform or a new type of technology to run your business, ask your current vendor or ask the vendors, if I want to use a particular credit card provider, if I want to use a particular premium finance bank, if I want to use a data provider, if I want to use somebody that integrates with marketing and CRM, do I have to use yours? Do you have open APIs? Can I get my data out easily? And if the answers are no to those questions, I would really have a moment of pause. But when you come to a company that has a true ecosystem, we allow virtually anybody into it, any insurtech. We have a marketplace. We publish our APIs. We publish our MCPs. We have an open API where pretty much anybody can come and build into our platform.
Michael, what do you mean by you have a marketplace?
So this is something that's really evolving over time, and I'd say in our marketplace journey, we're up to version like 0.1. We're about to release, real version, 1.0. And what started off, as, going back a couple of years when we were now certs and in AMS, being in that position where you have thousands of agents who are our distribution, who are our customers, the insurtechs tend to be magnetized towards us because they also want to work with that same distribution. And I think we all know, Evie, that agents do not want to log into multiple platforms. So if there is one entity that can consolidate the experience and offer as many pieces of functionality as possible with one login, that's always preferred. And that's what we as a core system of record, system of truth provide. As other companies come towards us, data providers, if you go to any insurtech show and you look at all the different verticals and segments, they could come, they could get our API. We're in the middle of publishing a complete SDK, and they could build their tech that's directly integrated to us. Now, the marketplace comes in where we're starting to offer their tech on a consumption-based, charge per transaction basis, just like the Apple App Store, right? You're an Apple user and you want to play Candy Crush. Apple didn't publish that game. Apple didn't set the pricing for the in-app purchases. We have created this framework, this platform, where anybody who's in the insurtech space that has value for really the independent agent, but beyond, and they have their superpower, whether it's loss runs or even COIs for that matter. If they could build a better version of that workflow than we can, you're welcome here. God bless you. Even if we make money off of it, we'll figure out how to make money elsewhere. We really believe that if you could build a better mousetrap for our agents, they'll benefit, we'll benefit in the long run. We'll all figure out as a software company how to make a couple of pennies on every transaction and the stickiness of it. And we're proving to be right. We haven't overtaken the larger AMSs, but we're seeing a tremendous amount of adoption and interest in this framework.
Interesting. I see your background, InsuranceAgency.ai. So as far as my research till now is like one of the biggest things happening right now at Momentum. What makes it like that important?
So it's funny. One of our weaknesses as a company is that, and maybe it's me more so as an executive, is that I've got crazy attention deficit disorder. I've got crazy ADD, and we were doing a lot before AI really came along. Let's say 18 months ago, when everybody was just using ChatGPT, and that kind of had that breakthrough moment. And everybody had a decision to make at that time. Do we jump onto this, or do we ignore it at our own peril? And I think if you did ignore it, it would be at your own peril. And we jumped into it very heavily. We started investing very heavily. In all honesty, from like, I don't know if you ever like have these thoughts about this company, and you say like, oh man, like I wish I was in that boardroom, like Tropicana orange juice. Like I wish I was in that boardroom when they completely changed the branding and decided to take like 100-year history and just like throw it in the garbage. I would, here, if anybody, follows us and said, hey, I wish I was in that boardroom when we were branded as Now Certs. That was the name of our company when I joined. And it was Now Certs AMS. We rebranded as Momentum AMP. And we put a lot of effort into that. And it takes a lot to rebrand the company. Then all of a sudden, AI came along, and we chose to invest very heavily. And we were very fortunate to be able to buy the domain and be able to connect and have that InsuranceAgency.ai, which is an incredibly powerful brand and domain. And we are investing tremendous resources, dollars, effort, energy into building out our AI platform. And it's something I'd love to go into much deeper in terms of what it is.
I'd love to.
But it's something that we are pushing. We believe it's the future. We believe it's going to have the greatest impact on us as a company, on our customer base, on our potential customers. So it's something that if we went out to market as Momentum AMP, AI suite, that tells something. But when you go to an independent agent and say, hey, we've got this platform called InsuranceAgency.ai, I just think it's powerful. It tells a complete story, and it shows you what our priority and focus is.
How you will see the difference between AI that answers questions and AI that actually complete agency work? Because I assume that you are discussion with agencies and that say, yeah, I'm using ChatGPT, I'm using Gemini, I'm using yada yada. But there is a differentiation with just to use an LLM model between to will use AI for your own benefits, for your own agency benefits, especially when, as you said previously, connect all the dots, like between all the platform, between all the portals.
So I think to answer that question, it's super important to really, I don't want to use the word clarify, but just to kind of establish that AI is not just one thing. It is not just a process. AI is not just a chatbot. It's not just document scanning. It's not just voice. It is all of the above. It is this kind of new concept that, like, I don't think we have the words yet to completely frame what it is, but it's ubiquitous. It is ever present. It permeates everything we do as it pertains to technology. So, when we talk to agents, and I want to say I get frustrated, but you get a lot of the same questions. And Evie, let me frame it this way. I was fortunate enough to be speaking at an InsurTech event, I don't know, 6 months ago. And there were 100 people in the room. And I said to the audience, all agents, I said, who here uses AI in their insurance agency? And everybody raised their hand. And I said, Okay, now if using AI means I go to ChatGPT, I ask a question, it gives me a great answer, or I upload a document and it gives me a great answer, and then I have it sitting somewhere in my ChatGPT left menu, put your hands down. That's not using AI. And there were three people left in the room that, from according to my definition, I'd say you're using AI and leveraging AI. And that is if it permeates and integrates with every aspect of your business. So, yes, it's there to answer questions. Yes, it's there to power workflows. Yes, it's there to do robotic work and to browse the web and to make sure you never answer the same question twice and to do audits and to have agents and for routines. And it's all of the above, and it can do all those things. Now, I think about this often. I think about like the name of the role that I think is going to be like the most important role. And this might change in a month, but I think the term that's going around right now is like either a context engineer or a context architect, right? This is the person who understands really how AI thinks and the types of documents it references before it makes a decision, the types of steps it takes to complete a function. And, another word you hear a lot is this like, is it a standalone or is it like deterministic, right? Do you
Right.
just put in the objective or do you get more involved in, kind of the recipe that what happens? And the agents that, or in any industry for that matter, and guys, there are a lot of people that are significantly more educated and knowledgeable and smarter than me on this topic, and go do your research. And this is just my opinion, and I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be falsely humble over here. I'm wrong more often than I'm right. But we fail fast and we ready, fire, aim. Here, I believe we're right. Uh, it's proving to be right. But this is the type of thing that's going to permeate every aspect of your business. And you have to understand that there are different prompts and different setups and different ways that you use it. And again, like really bad example, think about like nuclear energy, right? It's you could use it for a bomb, or you could use it for medical purposes. You could use it to kill cancer. You could use it to power a submarine. Uh, it's this incredibly powerful tool, but it's not like you could just like go to the local store, buy a canister of plutonium and wave it around and hope it works. Like you have to know how to manipulate it for a very specific intended purpose. And most people don't know that. So the way that we're approaching it is, yes, it is a technical digital tool powered by zeros and ones, but like we're also kind of giving you like the advanced PhD college course on how to use it and how to manipulate it. So like a very big part of what we're doing is we're rolling it out to agents, but right now only agents that will go through this very intensive training with us to learn how to think the way that AI thinks, learn how to, I don't want to say program it, but set it up with best practices. So I know it was a very long-winded soapbox answer to your question, Ev, but we're going for sound bites here, but I'm sorry for the length of the answer.
I think in a way it's leading me to the my next question, and it's to be more practical, because I would love to hear how you can give me like one practical example of a task that used to take several manual steps, and how InsuranceAgency.ai changed that workflow, because how to use this nuclear tool eventually.
So before I answer that question, let me just lay something out there as a framework.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we've done is that for an independent agent, we've recognized over time, but it took us a while to get here, to understand that you could break up the workflows and the functions of an insurance agency into, we're now calling 7 different worker types, 7 different agents. And without rattling them all off right now, but you've got sales, and then you've got servicing, and you've got finance accounting, and the list goes on. Now, within sales, you've got new business, you've got prospecting, you've got renewals. Within renewals, you've got the remarketing, then you've got the policy comparison, document checking. And basically what we've done is we've identified 165 workflows that all kind of group into one of those 7 agent types or work types. So now when we talk to an agent and they're talking about, hey, how do I get onto a new system? How do I approach AI? It's not like I have this one black hole of what does sales mean? No, we have a very precise checklist. We could go over it with an agent. And now it's not this like big void. It's not this big unknown of like, oh my God, I got to talk to my servicing team and I don't know where to start. Here's how you start. Here's a checklist. Is there anything that we've missed? And then as you go into it, we've mapped out all the different steps that a human does and all the steps that a system does. And maybe it's A to Z, or maybe it's kind of like async where there's a human in the loop or there's software in the loop. Now that you have that kind of visual that everything is mapped out and like I know how to get to every outcome or every objective, that's where you could start making AI meaningful. Now, Evie, as someone who's up to date on AI, there's this constant back and forth between just what started off with AI, like you had to give it very kind of precise steps and it would follow them. That was kind of more of like just a great workflow on steroids. It was a more defined if this then that, and it was deterministic, right? Then all of a sudden, 3-4 months ago, it was AI was becoming smart enough just to give it an outcome, just to say, hey, go do this renewal, and it knows what to do. Now, keep in mind, behind the scenes, we've got thousands of agencies that use our software and more every day that are using our AI and adopting our AI, and it's learning every day. And we know that when you say, hey, I want to go get a work comp quote and I want to bind it, I don't need to start thinking about every step along the way because we have that history, we have that knowledge, and when we describe that outcome, we kind of have the skill flow baked into it, but the AI is smart enough to know what you want it to do. And we're building agents to perform these microservice functions. So within that servicing and within that, hey, I need a supplemental form, or within, hey, I need to do a midterm cancel, we know the micro steps along the way. We know the outcome that has to happen. And we have this agent that could, as many of the automated tasks that have to take place, the AI knows to do that. And there are a lot of them that you don't need a human to do them. An AI could do them more accurately, faster, more efficiently, without as many mistakes at night. And it's incredibly powerful. And this is going to focus, and I think the winners will be, I don't know if this will be the exercise that they should be doing to begin with, but maybe it is. It's like, think about, where does the human bring the most value? Where does your common sense, where do your interpersonal relationships come in? Let you focus on selling and establishing relationships, because there are going to be a lot of things that just, it will be a waste if you have humans do it.
And once you get there, that you deliver the AI so many tasks and liability, what is your take about the trust and control about all the process? Like, if AI makes a mistake around coverage, limit, certificates, or client communication, eventually the consequences can be very serious.
They can. I'm not underestimating that. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, because it will. But I heard a great quote once, and trust is consistency over time.
Nice.
So if you're going to and this is something that personally in my own AI digital life I've done. I got a Hermes harness, which we're not going to get into now, but in terms of what I use for my daily AI, I use Hermes. And it's this very powerful yet very unpredictable type of AI infrastructure that has emailed somebody when I didn't ask it to, and it has performed certain functions. It hasn't emailed my social security number yet to my distribution list, but I keep working with it every day. I'm patient, and I keep putting certain guardrails in. But that's where I think insurance agency, brings value, because one of the things that we're doing, and we're not the only ones. And if you're an agent or anyone for that matter on this journey of like, hey, I need to get from here to there, where they're being like, I'm really leveraging AI and it's making me a better business person. There are other companies out there that do this, but one of the things we like to say we're doing is we're future proofing this for you.
Mm.
And it's almost kind of like when email first came out, and it's not the best example either, but like you had Outlook and you had in a Microsoft Exchange server, and I was smart enough to use email, but I did need some guy to come in and set up my Exchange server. I did need some IT guy to set me up, and do all the virus patching and all that. And I think there's an analog here in that, think of us as like your uh, AI, consulting company, where if Claude is the hot thing today, and then tomorrow it's ChatGPT, and then on Wednesday it's Google, and then Thursday it's Kimi or Manus or whatever it is. Do you want to be busy like switching your models every single day?
Right.
No. Our harness that we have, the LLMs that we built, could literally in a second, we could have you, even in an hour session, you could choose like which different models. We're maintaining this memory for you, independent of any of these other systems. So like you're not fully committed to Claude, and then if you want to get your memories out of Claude, it's a pain in the ass. So we're kind of maintaining that for you, and part of it also is we are working with you on these best practices. So when loops become a thing that you didn't know what a loop was 2 days ago, and now all that anybody is talking about are loops, that's our job. We have a whole team of people staying current on the best context engineering practices that are in place. And we keep learning and getting smarter and adding to that knowledge. So, we're kind of taking the burden of trying to have your system be as smart as it can be about this one particular subject matter.
And one of the final questions for this one, this episode, if InsuranceAgency.ai works the way you envision, what does the independent agency look like 3 years from now?
I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. Like I wouldn't even
Love
venture.
that.
I wouldn't
Love
even
it.
venture to predict what they would look like 6 months from now. Uh,
Love it.
I don't know. But what I would say is, if you're an independent agent and you're concerned about that answer, you need to. The only thing that you could do is make sure that you're at the top decile. You're at the cutting edge, uh, the tip of the spear, whatever you prefer, because there are going to be people who are behind the curve, and there are going to be people that are standing when the music stops. And you might not be, or we might not be able to say like, hey, see around, you could see around the bend of light, but
Mhm.
be at the cutting edge of it. Uh, we feel that we're there, but are we making all the right decisions? Is somebody else making other better decisions? 100%. But I think there's a small group of us that are really leaning into this, taking chances, making big bets, but we're doing it in the most cautious, I guess, with a balance of innovation and caution, because you have to. Uh, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you asked, not if, I saw Elon Musk was asked about 5 years from now, what uh, what's the world going to look like 5 years from now? And he said, there will be 1 billion humanoid robots just in our world, doing everything. Everybody's so like gung ho about blue collar work, and I want my kids to not go to college and go become plumbers. I believe that there's going to be a Tesla robot fixing my broken shower in 2 years. Not, my local plumber Dom, who I've been working with for 25 years. So I think also one of the levers we need to pull is we need to make a very clear distinction between small commercial and like middle market type work.
Okay.
I think that the robotic workflow, RPA, process driven automations are for now much more conducive to the smaller sub $5,000 policies. I think once you get into more complex, then you have to deal with the CFO. And at the end of the day, for now, we're all slightly protected that there are laws and regulations that a human still kind of has to get on the phone and do it. There's that little life raft you can hang on to for a bit until the AI legislation becomes more powerful than the current insurance lobby. How long will that last? I don't know, but hope is not a strategy. And I think if you think about like just the things that are repetitive tasks, they're going to come and they're going to come quickly. It's not going to be this like slow boil. It's going to be like you're going to wake up one day and there are going to be agents that can perform every function that happened in an insurance agency. And you just have to think about like as an agency owner and a principal and a producer, where does the human bring the most value? And it's in the relationship, it's in the trust, it's in the advisory. But I think agencies are going to become much more profitable. I think a good gross margin and a good EBITDA is going to go up, which is good news for those who wield the weapon properly.
I think I don't have any good way to end this episode with this sentence. Michael, first of all, I'm sorry that we have that amount of time, but it was like some great insights for me, and I hope for the audience as well. But what I love in this one is the way that you are not kind of bragging right now, but like straightforward with all the AI and all the buzz around it and what it actually meant, and especially around the agency. So love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Toda
rabba. So Michael, thank you again for being with us, and till next time.
It's my pleasure. Thank
you.